ari musisitemu anokuziva kuti tamponda tikamusungira dombo tikanomukanda ku Darwendale Dam riya riri kumberi kweMount Upton, where people will not be known where they have been buried. Nokuda kwesisitemu
have activated their perennial tendencies of seeking to disturb our security, peace, and prevailing tranquility environment in our country. They must be warned that my government will not broker any form of mischief.
Zvatangoitwa naSmith ndozvirikuitwa naMutanga. Kureva kuti ganda ndo rakachinja asi usveta simba hauna kuchinja.
The opposition has failed across the country. All the local authorities they control are a shame. Shame!
Now this is the free talk. Zimbabwe is in a fluid political situation at the moment, and a lot of things have been happening, especially the democratic space, according to civic society and opposition leaders, has been shrinking. We saw the arrest of Timba and 76 others, the arrest of Jacob Ngarivume, again after spending a lot of days in pre-trial detention only to be acquitted, but he's back in cell. Now, whither to Zimbabwe? This political journey, what is and how will we extricate ourselves from this political hirakira? Now, join me, your host, Dara B, on this, the Free Talk, in proud partnership with the Frederick Newman Foundation for Freedom, as we ask and answer the biggest question, so what, for Zimbabweans. Now join me after this break for more. Welcome back to this, the Free Talk, in proud partnership with the Frederick Newman Foundation for Freedom. I'm your host as usual, Dara B. Now, this week, I talk to one of the most arrested politicians in Zimbabwe. One person who stayed in pre-trial detention somewhat the longest, only to be acquitted of all crimes that he had been alleged to have committed. We talk about his journey. We talk about where Zimbabwe is right now. Political mistakes, political correctness, and Zimbabwe's way forward. Now, I want to welcome and thank you very much for joining me, former Honorable Member of Parliament, Advocate at Law, and Father Sikhala. How are you?
No, I'm fine, Dara. Thank you very much for coming for us to engage in this dialogue and this discussion. We welcome you. This is our first interview since my release from prison on the 30th of January this year. So I welcome you. This is our really proper first meeting after such a long time.
Sure.
I was not available soon after my release from prison, after I've gone outside the country for medical checkups and treatment. So it's good to meet you once more again. Thank you very much.
So let's start from there. How is your health? What did your doctors tell you, if you had privilege to share with us?
Yeah, obviously I would not go into intimate details, but however, as you are looking at me, I'm okay. And I'm ready to go. As a political leader in this country, I think also on your introduction, you left some very important introduction. That currently I'm the chairperson and the chief facilitator of the National Democratic Working Group. that is a conglomeration of different constituents groups that includes labor, professional bodies, churches, all veterans, people living with disabilities, students, and others. I'm currently heading that conglomeration of different constituents groups.
Yeah, we'll get into that, Honorable Sikhala, but let us now just turn to your more than 500 days in prison. I just want us to talk about what was happening whilst you were in prison and the communication that you were getting from outside world. What were you hearing when you were inside?
No, I think, as you understand, since from the beginning, I've always been speaking out on the way how I have been maltreated at Pungwalo, called Chikrup Maximum Security Prison. I was confined in solitary confinement on an area where Chidumo was detained, where Simon Mani was detained, where one of those former apartheid South Africa spies was detained. I can't still remember his name. I think if you can remember him. And where those people who have been condemned to death are housed. So I have been housed as a condemned individual.
And yet you had not been convicted?
Oh, yet I was not convicted. Neither did I even committed an offense. I think it was the attempt by the criminal regime of our country to make sure that they exact maximum pain on my soul, on my body, and also to torture me mentally. So when I got in, I understood their agenda, and I had to find means to survive under such circumstances. And this means was for me to strengthen my mental health system to make sure that I would be able to stand the brutality which I was going through against the regime. Secondly, I had to preoccupy most of my time through voracious reading of different political literature. After I obtained a court order that I must be allowed to read any material of my own choice as per the provision of the Constitution, where the Constitution in terms of Section 15, Section 70 allows, prisoners.
You're telling us here that you were being denied this material until you got a court order.
Not only that was I being denied material for me to read in prison in terms of the law, but I was also denied even food. I had to obtain a court order that I must be able to obtain food from my family and friends who wanted to feed me. They basically wanted to deny me all the basic rights that were entitled to every a prisoner in this country, as provided by our laws. So I noticed their intention that this is a brutal attack on my person, and they wanted to make sure that I will collapse and I will lose it. So I had to make sure that I resisted that through building of a strong mental strength to overcome some of these trials and tribulations. You extremely need yourself to be very strong. As I speak with you, I understand what Jameson, Timba, and others are going through. Fortunately, they are not in solitary confinement. They are within the bigger section of prison, where they will be able to interact with others. Myself, I was not allowed to interact with other prison inmates. I was not allowed even to interact with the prison officers. Initially, prison officers were even scared to come anywhere near me whether at Group Maximum Prison or on our way to court or even at court, they were so scared to be anywhere near me. So the environment which they created was that I was an outcast in that prison, and made sure that I didn't obtain the proper rights which prisoners are entitled for in this country. So even if visitors from outside, I had to obtain a court order for that. And but others, despite having obtained a court order, they denied me to have a right of access to a religious leader of my own choice to come and pray for me. They were also denying me for me to have my right to be treated by the doctor of my own choice, until I later asserted my rights by obtaining another court order again. So it was a battle, it was a fight, it was not easy. And you know, I noticed some people trying to take it as a joke when people go through such tribulations. And I want to tell everyone outside there that it's not easy there. I understand that Jacob Fungaruf at the present moment is there at Group Maximum Prison. It's not easy for him. And all those people who have been there, I met Robson Cherry last week at the American Embassy, where they were celebrating their 248th year, the independence celebration, and also the welcoming of the new ambassador. He engaged me and he told me, my brother, we heard the horrors that you went through at Group Maximum Prison. Your story is authored everywhere. Everyone was talking about how you have gone through serious difficulties at Group Maximum Prison. So it's not an easy journey, but however, what such things does is that it hardens you. It brings you to understand that you need to be extremely strong. And also it gives you the picture that your enemy is implacable. So when you are dealing with such hostile enemies who are after your destruction, you need also to be extremely bold, which I want to reassure you that I am. I am not afraid, and as you understand, the more you persecute an individual, the more that individual is hardened. There is no rehabilitation completely. If they think that all those people whom they are persecuting in prison one day will turn out to succumb to their unholy means of treating the citizens of this country, they are mistaken. Those people will be hardened in their hearts. Others will come out bitter. They are building deep-seated bitterness in their hearts against them, to which such things must not be expected in an independent state, and also in the 21st century. So this is what we are going through, and so forth. And also, before my lawyers obtained another court order, they were not being allowed to come and meet me. They had to seek a court order for them to have audience with me in prison.
I want us to talk about issues that many people had while you were in prison. So the first thing was that you felt abandoned, that your comrades in the struggle, the opposition struggle, had abandoned you. Was that a correct way that you were feeling at that time?
Understanding the difficulties that I was getting inside, I would also imagine what could have been going through my other colleagues who were outside at that material time. I could not have had a full brief of what has been happening outside. But inside, of course, you would expect your friends to visit you, just to come and give you solidarity and warm heart solidarity. And some of these things, you know, are things that we underestimate because you are not inside. Do you know how much it meant when I once saw you in my court, coming to cover my court case? It gave me, and it reminded me of how we used to meet outside. When you see your friends, it uplifts your spirit. And when you are isolated, living in solitary confinement, and the whole day will go, one day goes, second day, 595 days, without seeing your friends, it traumatizes you. It gives you a lot of thought process. Your mind will be processing a lot of things. Don't also forget that El Chigroup maximum prison, for 17 hours, you'll be detained in your solitary confinement, looking at the walls. If there is no electricity, which usually came very late, and not reading, your mind will be all over the place. You'll be thinking a lot. For you to envisage what is happening outside, and what is happening. Are people really know the circumstances that I'm going through here? Are they sure about the difficulties that I'm going through? So, for me to conclusively say whether I was abandoned or not, it's not an issue to me, because already it's a past phase. I have to look into the future. So I don't want to focus so much on the past.
But doesn't that experience that you had and felt abandoned affect how you're going to deal with the future?
Not as such. It depends on how we are able to manage each and every situation. You know, as leadership, we must be able to deal with issues as they come. The past must never, ever author the future. On the basis that even our country is being denied the basic rights, political, social, economic rights, on the basis of continuous reference to the past, that we fought the liberation struggle in this country. No one can take away our country while we are still surviving and so forth. So we don't want to depend on the past for us to determine the future. The future must determine itself. The concept called predestination. Let the future author itself.
As you sit here, you came out and left the political vehicle that you had so much defended. That was the CCC. Is that not because of this alleged case of abandonment?
The first thing that you have to understand is that I am that person who chaired the meeting on the 22nd of January 2022 that pronounced the launch of the Citizens Coalition for Change, transforming ourselves from the MDC Alliance to the Citizens Coalition for Change. I was one of those leading persons who went to the press conference that pronounced the formation of the Citizens Coalition for Change. I'm one of the persons who went to the Zimbabwe Election Commission for the registration of the political party before the announcement at Bronte Hotel on that particular day. You know, when the by-elections were later held in March, I was one of the eminent persons who moved throughout the country in all different constituencies campaigning for our candidates who were contesting during those by-elections. I left the party when it was on the upright trajectory, going upwards. But my 595 days in prison completely changed everything. When I came out of prison on the 30th of January 2024, I found out that political outfit, which I suffered for, splintered into different factional groups. And secondly, what I also noticed was that there was a complete interference by Zanu PF. Similarly, the same tactic that they used to usurp the MDC alliance via the COVID judgment, which happened. Same tactic authored in the same trajectory to destroy the Triple C. So I came out when the ended. Was a rotting carcass. Was not interested to be associated with the conflicts that started during the period of my absence. Don't also forget that it pained me a lot, because when I represented the More Blessing Ali as their family lawyer, it was informed on the basis that More Blessing Ali was our member. When I accepted those instructions, it was informed on that note. That's why you realize that did that memo service at Sime. Everyone was there. Not even a single leader was not there, on the basis that he was our member. So my commitment to fight for one of our own really destroyed my hope when I came out, to find out that everyone were throwing stones against each other. So I wanted to keep out from their fights.
Was it not also your fight? Because
it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
Because as you say in your response, you say that you realized that Zanu PF had usurped or had tried to destroy the Triple C. Wasn't it also your fight against Zanu PF to ensure that you saved the Triple C?
No, a careful and intelligent leader does not swim on the tide directed by your enemy. Zanu PF wanted everyone to be put together, so that when they destroy all of you. Everyone who was left in the tree would look at the moment. They have been completely destroyed. That is why that funny character is now saying that he has expelled everyone, is now the sole proprietor of the organization and so forth.
So when you say everyone, you mean what? You mean the Charlton Wende, the Watchmen Mube, and the like, who have said that they are defending the Triple C?
Of course, at the present moment, who is Charlton Wende in the Triple C political matrix at the present moment? When I went in prison, Charlton Wende was the Secretary General of the Triple C, but when I came out, he was not. He is now completely nothing in the Triple C political matrix. He just remains there. I don't know for whatever reasons. But to be very frank with you, who is Charlton Wende? All his powers and authority has been usurped by that funny character who has arrogated himself the powers to own the Triple C political party. I don't see his value there.
What about Watchmen Mube? He says he's the president and he's rebuilding the party.
It's absolutely something that I think he should carefully reflect on them. I could have avoided to talk about individuals on the basis that I'm not interested to talk about individuals. But I'm just going to comment it, giving it my general view. I don't think that Professor Watchman is controlling that political organization. That thing is a CIO project, completely. When I was outside the country, I met one of the former diplomats, a former ambassador in this country, who called me for some coffee. We went, and then he told me that, Job, I want to tell you the truth. That project is a complete CIO project. So if Watchman Moy still wants to remain clinching to the CCC, it is his own choice. But my knowledge and understanding is that the CCC is now a completely CIO project. Which diplomat, one of the diplomats who served in this country, told me that we know, and we've been following that. And this is an African diplomat, not a European diplomat. We knew all the that was inside prison, where the CCC have been hijacked to become a CIO project.
You said that you chaired the meeting that transformed the MDC alliance to the CCC. Yeah. So is it therefore correct, the assertions, that the CCC is MDC alliance in another name?
I'm not sure, on the basis that I was sooner rather than later arrested before. What we simply wanted to do at that material time was for us to create a political to will take us through the by-elections that were pending in March. So we had to quickly put something in place so that we'll be able to on a different political platform. How it was going to be constituted was then to be decided after the by-elections. To say, guys, now the by-elections are over. How are we going to move forward from here thereafter to the next chapter? So that later happened. That transformation later happened when I was already in prison. I don't know how they remained behind, sat down for them to decide how the party was going to move from the first phase, where we said we just want to find a vehicle that we are going to use for political contestation on the by-elections, to an organization that we will sit after the by-elections to transform ourselves into a political organization.
With hindsight, do you think there was a clever move to just launch something and leave other things hanging?
Yeah, because we were late. The by-elections were pending and they were coming fast and furious. We were losing successive court applications in the High Court on the DC alliance, and then we said we can no longer continuously to hang over the name of the MDC alliance. Why don't we just try to find a platform for us to fight this by-election, so that we will not have the same problems of members of parliament being recalled by Douglas Mwonzora at that time. When we go back, when our members of parliament win the by-elections. So it was a that we did as a stop towards reading ourselves into a new political outfit.
So in your mind, do you believe that the CCC was new, or it was just the name change and it remained what it was as the MDC alliance?
No, the CCC was a platform, like what I told you, that we wanted to use specifically for the purpose of the by-elections. On was something after the fast and furious, only had very few days for us to be able to put our house in order, to move campaigning throughout the country and make sure that we make an impact during the period of the by-elections.
Are you being honest? Because I was at Bronte, and at Bronte, your then leader, Nelson Chamisa, said, this is a new, it has nothing to do with the old. You were there, and you're okay with it, with that statement?
I can't still remember what has been said at the Bronte Hotel, but I'm talking in terms of what we planned ourselves. I don't depend on what you could have heard at the press conference, but I depend on what we resolved at that material time. That we find a political platform for us to go and contest the by-elections. After the by-elections, we are going to sit down and then see what kind of a political animal are we going to have towards the 2023 elections.
Was Singers Chabangu part of that meeting?
I don't know Chabangu. Frankly speaking, I have never met him. I don't know whether he was there or not, because the meeting that I chair myself, it was the meeting of the bigger body of the MDC Alliance, which was called the National Council. The National Council is representative from various provinces, but I don't know him. I don't remember myself meeting a person of Changu's character at that particular day in Masasa. If I want to be very honest and without malice, I did not see him. I don't remember. I remember the people that came from Matabeleland was Masumatu Ekoswanda, who came with his delegation from Mat North. He is a person who knows better whether Singles Shangu was part and parcel of his delegation from Mat North. You know, he was the chairman then, and the National Council was constituted by provincial representatives and the members of the National Executive and the Standing Committee.
I want us, Honorable Sikhala, I want us to talk about the aspect that you moved to make the MDC Alliance. As you said, it was taken, moved to make the Triple C. You lost it again. What does this speak to Zimbabwe political space? Is there space for a political party that can honestly challenge Zanu PF without Zanu PF, as you allege, getting involved in it?
Quite possible. But however, what you should understand in politics is that when you are dealing with a political animal like Zanu PF, the first thing that you have to do is for you to study carefully and understand the character of your opponent. What kind of an animal Zanu PF is, so that when you deal with them, you know strategies and tactics on how to respond to them. Zanu PF thinks that by arresting everyone, detaining them, destroying opposition political parties like what they did to the MDC Alliance and Triple C, a skilled opposition.
Is it not?
That is complete foolishness which they are living in. Opposition is not destroyed in this country. Opposition is the state of mind. There are deep-seated discontentment among the citizens of this country that has never been imagined since our independence in 1980. The anger and rage against Zanu PF. They would not know them because they are seated on the pedestal of a monarchical power. But the truth of the matter is that opposition is the mindset. The mindset of Zimbabweans is that they loathe and despise this regime to the extent that they even know it. That's why pre-SADC summit, they've been moving around, terrorizing citizens throughout the country. A really political organization or government with legitimacy would not behave the way they behaved before the SADC summit. You are confident of your own people that I have the backing of the masses of our country. So the situation which they've created is not different from the situation which was created in Zimbabwe during the period of Ian Douglas Smith's regime in the 1960s and 1970s, when Smith completely closed and shattered political space in this country, opposition went underground. The same thing that happened in South Africa in the 1950s and 1960s. When the ANC realized that the apartheid regime has become so vicious against the citizens of South Africa, they went underground. That's why Mandela and this crew were later arrested at the Rivonia farm, because they went underground. So what a situation, the kind of situation that has been created in our country at the present moment is that the masses of our people and the citizens has gone underground. And it is most dangerous for you to create a situation whereby your opponents will go underground, because whatever they will think and resolve underground might be devastating to contemplate. It is good to open up political space. You see the activities of your opponents. You will be able to read their minds. There is no most dangerous person like the one who, when even being abused, will keep quiet. If you continuously abuse your wife at home and she keeps quiet, you butcher and beat her at every turn of a simple, just household conflict. On the stroke of a minor problem, you beat her up. You shout at her, you abuse her, and then she keeps quiet and just say, okay, goes. You have to know that you are living a dangerous life. But when you engage her, for you to discuss the internal problems that you might have as a family, you'll be able to understand the mindset of your wife. This is exactly the situation and the relationship between the current government, the current Zanu PF regime, and the masses of our country. The masses of our country are like an abused wife.
Some people believe that they don't believe in the opposition anymore. This is why you find those who were in the CCC joining Zanu PF left, right, and center.
There is no one who is joining Zanu PF. Those are opportunists who just look for opportunities to survive during this difficult economic times in our country. With this drought, people are not able to get a meal in their homes and so forth. So they think everything is in Zanu PF. So don't think those people are going there genuinely. Come the period of coming elections, you will see their true colors. They will come back to their homes and after having gone to cheat Zanu PF, pretending to support them. This is exactly the same political issues that you have to understand. There is no way you should believe that somebody with the Zanu PF blood in his veins, who grew up in a Zanu PF culture, that person will ever be opposition. Even if they come to us, don't believe them. You cannot remove Zanu PF in their veins and in their heart. That's why you realize that all those people who came to the opposition, like JB Chabuno, Shadrach Mashayangombe, Zikamai Mafaire, Jimmy Kunaka, and others, they came so loud, making lots of noise to the opposition, and the people in the opposition, because of their lack of understanding of politics, they were saying, yeah, and they could wash a basket. They were being given platforms for them to, but you could not remove the Zanu PF in them. So the same applies to anybody who grew in the mass democratic struggle. You cannot plant a Zanu PF person in somebody who grew up in the MDC culture since 1999. It's possible.
But these people that you're talking about, in particular Jim Kunaka, while you were in prison, they will hold press conferences as friends of Job Sikhala, speaking on your behalf. and saying that you were unhappy that you were been abandoned.
That is their deception. That is the Zanu PF deception, what they do. And what you must be careful about them. They wanted to take advantage of my persecution in prison for them to advance their own agenda, which anybody would have believed that should have some psychiatric problems. They grandstand in a manner that you would believe that they support you, while it's in actual fact their intentions and ultra motives are in pursuit of a completely different agenda. So never believe in anything from anybody who grew up in Zanu PF when he pretend, masquerades and grandstand to be in support of those people who have been in the mass democratic struggle. So what I am saying is that if you believe that Chebundo, Blessing Chebundo, who survived after having been tied on a tree, petrol poured on him, and the matchstick wanted to be ignited to lighten him up in Kwekwe Central on his titanic fight with Emerson Mnangagwa contesting for that constituency. For you to believe that his blood veins are now Zanu PF, that's being foolish. That mindset.
But he has an office at Zanu PF headquarters.
He is there just for him to survive, to eat, not with his heart. Never.
But the optics are something else. He's managed to entice a number of people to come and join Zanu PF.
He is just inviting them. We are kuno kwaita kuria. We are kuno tirye mapenzi. That is what they are doing. Just to go there more and then they go.
Where would they go?
To their homes. To feed their families with whatever small loot that they could have got from the grave train. Do you think those people honestly believe in Zanu PF? When their families have been abused? A person like Blessing Chebundo who survived a near assassination. And Zanu PF sits with him, they're saying, director of retainees. That's foolish. They don't understand the mindset of a person who has been traumatized and tortured through the work and deeds of Zanu PF. So never believe that.
So if one was to argue that these people are therefore not leaders, never leaders, they are just opportunists who are looking for survival.
Of course, on that one I could completely agree with you. A leader in good and bad times must always remain steadfast. Eat what you kill. Be satisfied, Dara, with the little that you get for your own family. Never sell your soul for whatever amount of gold or silver. Remain a person of your own, satisfied with the little that you get to support your family. Do you know how much sweet it is for me to find myself under pressure for the school fees of by many children? That pressure that I'm getting as a parent motivates me to work further for my own family. How sweet when you are able to say, I have now completed paying the school fees of my children. When you get that sigh of relief, it gives you full satisfaction inside your body. Rather than for you to sell your soul, knowing very well that this is blood-stained money. This is the loot from the people of Zimbabwe. The man that should have gone and support the medication of old women who are sick in hospital. When you know that this man should have gone to go and construct roads. When you know that this man should have gone for the common good of each and every citizen of Zimbabwe, and then you pocket it for your own self. These are people who just lack morality. And the opportunists who, when given an opportunity for them to find an opportunity to put their hands on surviving, they go where they get easy money. Not that they are there through conviction. I don't believe that, because those people grew up in the culture of the opposition. That's why Davengwa could not even sustain himself to continuously live in Zanu PF, even despite having been a minister there. I met him in 1998 in Mashingo at the Great Zimbabwe Hotel. On the when the ANC called the NCA, the National Constitutional Assembly, called for a workshop which was addressed by him, Davengwa, as the Minister of Home Affairs, and Edgar Tekere, as somebody was taken from the opposition. I went there. I talked to Mr. Davengwa. He said, "Job, my son, I don't believe in this old man called Robert Mugabe. I don't believe in all this abuse Zanu PF is doing against our own people."
But he believed in the cars.
Pardon?
He believed in the cars, that he was having the power as a minister.
No, he didn't. You could see that he is somebody who is in it only just to serve a particular purpose at that time. He should have been compelled by his colleagues in ZAPU that we must unite for the purpose of fulfilling the unity agreement. But his heart was not there completely. He told me, I saw when I was a young boy. I was a young boy at that time. Tenwa said, "I don't believe in these people. Please go and tell Morgan Changre and Gibson Swanda that please they must come and talk to me." I went and told Morgan Changre and Gibson Swanda about that. And then I don't know whether they later conducted him. But his heart and soul was not with Zanu PF, on the basis that he did not grow up in that culture of Zanu PF. So anyone whom you think is rejoining Zanu PF and in the hope that the opposition has been completely destroyed in this country, they are doing it for particular interests that are not at all political.
You say that you should never believe those who come from Zanu PF joining the opposition ranks. How do you build a new Zimbabwe if you are exclusionist? If you are saying
it's
that
not exclusionary.
Yes.
The truth of the matter is that what the situation which we have been living under for a long time is a situation whereby Zanu PF completely divided our people in this country between those who are pro-oppression and those who are completely under oppression. So the division between the two different forces in our country is so tense to the extent that it needs a new crop of leaders who would be able to reconcile our nation, to make sure that the vicissitudes of the past will not harm the future.
Do you think we have those leaders, Honorable Sikhala?
Yeah, we in Zimbabwe who are able to unite our citizens. Our citizens love a leader who is inclusive, who respects every Zimbabwean, who respects the diversity among ourselves. A leader who is tolerant of dissenting voices. He who will not be irritated by just minor issues, or somebody who will not think that Zimbabweans owes them anything, the way we are witnessing in this country, where people think that they are bigger than Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe needs a leader who will look at Zimbabwe as a wholesome nation, where each and everyone deserves an opportunity for him to prosper in this country. Everyone who, when he is in power, will not say, "I am just the president of Zanu PF supporters." Zanu PF supporters are the only ones who should get the opportunities for them to survive in the country. A leader who, when he gets into power, will know that he represents the diversity of our nation in their different colors.
If you were to name some of these leaders.
I don't name people on the basis that, I don't believe in individualism. I believe in collective wisdom of our citizens. So the collective wisdom of our citizens is the one that will be able to identify such a leader. Not myself to identify.
But if you say that it means you have looked around and you have seen.
No. I never said that I've looked around. I'm just giving you a political and ideological perspective of what the people of Zimbabwe anticipate. And I have never bothered my mind to think about individuals. That is the problem we have been having in this country for a long time.
Would you step up, Honorable Sikhala?
No, let me help you.
If people were to say, you lead us? Can you unite Zimbabweans? Can you do all these things that you're talking about? Would you step up, Honorable Sikhala?
The problem with our politics, not only in Zimbabwe but in Africa as the whole, it has been always leaders who want to impose themselves upon the people. I don't believe in that politics.
If people come to you and ask you, who do you step up?
The masses of our people, we should never arrogate ourselves the wisdom and the thoughts of the masses of our people. Let the masses of our people speak themselves. Yourself, you are speaking here as an individual who says, if the people say, you are not the people. The people, when they are outside there, they know what they want.
Some people have argued that people don't know what they want. They need to be told what they want. Do you agree?
No, that's a lie. That is the lie that we want to deal with as the National Democratic Working Group. That we have been always thinking that we possess more wisdom more than our masses, where masses' ideas and thoughts were now subordinate to our views. While the masses, while we leaders must be subordinate to what they think.
So what is the working group trying to do? It's trying to educate people that they have their intelligence.
Is to tell the masses of the people that the future of this country belongs to them. They must never leave the future and the destiny of this country to individual leaders.
Why are you telling them? Don't they know that?
On the basis that for a long time, the culture that has been created in our country during the period of Robert Mugabe, there was no separation between the state and individual. Mugabe was seen as Zanu PF. Mugabe was seen as Zimbabwe. Mugabe was seen as everything. So that mindset is the mindset that we want to go and tell our citizens that a successful nation is a nation that whose leaders subordinate themselves to the will of the people, to what the people think should be done for the development of their own country. We have been imposing ideas to the citizens, while it should be the masses who should impose ideas to the leadership.
Why have you, Honorable Sikhala, been imposing yourself on citizens? Why have you been doing that?
Oh, that's why, on the basis that it was our miscalculation. That's why our struggle has taken so long from 1999 up to present, almost 25 years later, that we have not been able to tackle some of the problems that we have been facing in our country. The problem has been that the citizens were no longer couriers of their own destiny. We leaders were now the couriers of the destiny of the masses. The masses must own every idea which a leader must implement. The moment when we know that even our own armed struggle for it to be successfully prosecuted was on the basis that the masses became the owners of the armed struggle in this country.
But that's not true, Honorable Sikhala, and you know it.
It's true.
People were beaten up by liberation war fighters. People were put in line to deliver certain things. I actually sitting in Berengwa and having conversation with people who were there during the liberation war struggle. Their chickens were taken forcefully. People attended Pungwes by force. They were taught they were pushed in a certain direction to persecute the liberation struggle. And that's the truth. And you know it, Honorable Sikhala.
No. However, if you would understand, some of us, maybe it was in my, the liberation guerrillas were daily camping at our own at the hill at our own house. Daily, Vana Comrade Musa and others were always camping at the hill next to our homestead. When they came, they were extremely friendly. I remember one of the guerrilla leaders taking off his red new trousers, giving it to my father, and asked my father's tattered trousers which he was wearing, and said, "No, Mdara, can we exchange the trousers?" He was given a new red trousers, and then he took my father's tattered trousers and said, because this red, I don't want it, nokuti it's red. Yours is a bit dark. There was no any hostile environment. The people felt. That's why people volunteered to go to Mozambique. You cannot tell me that thousands and thousands of people of guerrillas were camped in Mozambique, in Zambia for Zebra forces, were all compelled to go there. They voluntarily go there, go in and interview some of the war veterans. We in the National Democratic Working Group, we work with some of the war veterans. We ask them some of these things. They say we voluntarily left our homes to go and prosecute the struggle because they knew the struggle belongs to them. That's why they volunteered in their thousands to go and get trained and come back as the guerrillas to liberate their countries. Vanachi Mgido na Namjiba, I know Vanachi Mgido. My Maofa was the biggest Chimgido in our area in Gultu. She was one of the most hardworking Chimgidos. She would walk by foot the distance of more than 20 kilometers, calling people to come to Pungwes. I saw them. And people were voluntarily going to Pungwes for them to go and get that political education, on the basis that the masses felt that the struggle belongs to them. They must carry it on their shoulders and fight for the liberation of their own country. So, of course, I would not dismiss some of the things that you have said were happening. No doubt about that. That there were others who were heartless, who were cruel. We had a comrade who lived at Nika, or after at Nika Growth Point after our independence, who was called Comrade Bonde. Comrade Bonde said he was coming from Ashuna and Central. That was his home area. But after the liberation struggle, he couldn't go back to his own home village. Because after having got trained as a guerrilla in Mozambique, he went to his own village, went and did exactly what you are saying, killed his own uncle, his own uncle, the brother to his own father, killed his auntie and other neighbors, trying to force them. But after the liberation struggle, he couldn't go back to his home area. He died at Nika, doing sculpturing at Nika Growth Point.
If you're talking about this love that the Liberation War fighters had and this seamless relationship they had with the people, where did it all go wrong? Because these are the same people who fought in the Liberation War struggle.
Let me be frank with you. The guerrillas were completely different from the political leadership that was living in a hotel in Mozambique. When all these people were on the battlefront, Robert Mugabe was seated in a hotel in Maputo. If you do carefully read the Liberation War literature, you will find that Mugabe only visited the guerrilla camps twice all his life long when he was in Mozambique. And the majority of the political leadership that came and obtained political power in our country in 1980 did not participate on combat operations in this country. They were all seated in hotels. People like Nathan Shamyari, who later became ministers, Edson Zobgo and others, they did not went on combat operations in this country. Where have you ever heard that Mwonzora was leading a contingent to operate fighting there? Nowhere. So these political leaders were afraid that their powers did not belong to them. So they had to come here and adopt a completely different political approach to coerce the masses to accept them as their leaders. Because they knew that the majority of our citizens know that they did not participate in the liberation struggle on combat warfare.
Let me take you to the working group. Is it a political party?
It is not.
Is it seeking political power?
No, it is not. It is just a social justice movement where we are engaging our citizens of this country for them to reflect on where we have gone wrong since 1999.
So you're telling me come the elections in 2028, you will not be seeking a political office?
I will not. Why should I seek political office if it doesn't come from the masses? The masses themselves are the ones that are going like what I told you.
So if the masses...
Never should we impose ourselves upon the masses of this country.
So if the masses give you in 2028, you will seek political office?
Let us not prophesy on behalf of the masses. 2028 is still very far. Let them say things will develop on their own. Why should me and you take the burden of trying to prophesy on behalf of the masses? The masses are there. Please let us not undermine them. Let them say what they want in 2028.
I can authoritatively say, Honorable Sikhala, that I do speak on behalf of the masses. I talk to the masses.
Yeah.
And when I ask questions, I ask on their behalf. And as I ask you, if the masses say that they want you in office, will you accept that?
I want to hear them first. I don't want to take your message as biblical truth, my brother. You are my friend. Because you are my friend, you might want to make me happy. But you might want to try to make me happy. But honestly speaking, because you are my friend.
I'm a friend outside this environment.
Yeah. Very true.
But when I sit here,
yeah,
I take no
business. That's true. But let's be frank, my brother. Let me hear the echoes of the masses' voice themselves. I don't want to. Never shall I act on hearsay. Because yourself, you are a third party from the masses. Let the masses echo the voice themselves.
If we are talking of law of evidence, Honorable Sikhala,
yeah,
there's evidence.
No, your evidence won't be admissible. You are a law student. I know you are a law student, but let me be very frank with you. This kind of evidence you have spoken to me here will be inadmissible in court.
I'm giving you different evidence. You have been elected more than 3 times by the masses. They've had faith in you as a leader. And that's empirical evidence. And this is fact. So if the same people who've been electing you come and say, we still believe in you.
No, they haven't yet told me that.
They do.
I will not. I don't want to prophesy. The problem of our politics is that we always want to speak things that advance our own personal and narrow interests. And that does not advance the interests of our masses. I don't want to predestinate. I don't want to prophesy of what the masses will say. Let's give the masses their position. Let them speak out where they want the destiny of their country to be. You know, the problem with Africa and the main political leaders is that they have been indirectly canvassing for their endorsement via special interviews like the ones that we are speaking here, where you would say, if the masses say, I would say, yes, who will I be to deny the wishes of the masses? That's completely nonsense. Let the masses themselves speak. I am a human being. I can see what the masses will be saying. I can hear their echoes, and then at that material time, you can make an informed decision.
As we speak, Honorable Sikhala, Zanu PF is mobilizing. It's canvassing. It is preparing for 2028. Where's the opposition?
No, they have been canvassing since we were born. But still they have been defeated in all elections, only for them to impose themselves against the will of the people. These people have never stopped campaigning on daily basis, but they are being despised. See even the gatherings. If you were to see the gatherings of Robert Mugabe in 2017, before the military coup, are far far much better than the jokes that we see of provinces being gathered by this Zanu PF political communists. The new Zanu PF is called what? Machacha. They are a joke. If you were to see the rallies, the youth rallies, which Chipanga, that Zanu PF youth, what was his name? What was his name?
Kudzai
Chipanga. If you were to see the rallies, the youth interface rallies, which Chipanga went around this country addressing with Robert Mugabe and Grace Mugabe, they are unprecedented. Not these jokes where 5 people gather in some hall in Mtari and then say, we are campaigning. Not that.
Let's talk about gathering in this hall. There has been this issue around an extension of presidential term. The president himself has said he doesn't want and he will not extend his presidential term.
The problem with us in opposition is that we always play politics to the whims and caprices of Zanu PF. This is just a diversional tactic for them to get us involved in debating about them. If they want to do, let them do, and then the citizens will decide whether they accept or not. What we should do is that we will see whether the masses of our people will accept such kind of a project or not. Not myself as an individual. We will ask the masses of our people, what do they say about Mnangagwa's intention to extend this term of office to 2030? They are the ones who will give us the way forward, not myself and you.
But in society, there are opinion leaders. These are very important, aren't they?
But they are not arrogators of all the wisdom of politics. That's where I disagree with the people. You know, I reflected and liked Morgan Tsvangirai's symbolistic approach to politics. Tsvangirai would just leave Harare if things becomes difficult. You go to Bringa there, go and sleep in people's houses, talk with chiefs, talks with ordinary persons at the ground, and say them, what should we do as the next way forward? The wisdom that you obtain from an ordinary citizen of this country right in the village in Binga, right in the village of Yomberengwa, is more than the wisdom of the so-called opinion leaders. Opinion leader, leading which opinion? Whose opinion do you think you are leading? So we have to be extremely careful with the way how we have been running this country. We thought there are certain people who are arrogators of all wisdom and knowledge, which is wrong. So if you say there are certain individuals, I might understand. I believe in the wisdom of an ordinary old person whom I met in my mother's village last week when I was at the funeral, and told me about the basic community problems that they are facing at Tegel and the way how they think they should be solved. Not some person who stands up and say, I am an opinion leader of whose opinion? Your opinion. You want it to be the national opinion. That's where we are wrong. So who are these opinion leaders who want to give us their views?
Are you not one?
Opinion leader?
Yes.
No.
Would not be sitting here having a conversation
Listen,
if you didn't think that you can lead the opinion.
No. What you are doing is you are just conversing with one of those ordinary citizens of this country.
You find yourself as a lawyer, as a former honorable member, a chairman of a very
true. But that will never
a national working group of democracy, and you're chairing a national working group of democracy, and you want to sit here and honestly tell me, as I sit here with you, that you're an ordinary person. Is that a fair assessment?
Very fair. On the basis that I'm not the arrogant of all wisdom and knowledge in this country. I'm just trying to play my party. Just like you. You cannot say I am the opinion leader in the media industry. That will be arrogance. And that will be despising all other players in the media. You're just playing your role to convey the opinions of different citizens of this country to the masses. That is also the role that I'm just playing my part and my role. For me to also contribute in my small way on how I think my country's problems can be solved and corrected. We must now run away from the culture we have been taught by Zanu PF from 1980. That my chef that's completely wrong.
Some say that vision is for a few, provision is for many. Those who sat down and decided that there should be a Kariba dam in Kariba, we're not many, we're just a few. But that dam is providing for many who, when they said, they didn't have that vision. The world needs people, a few with vision, who shares this vision with a lot of people. Are you saying that this view is flawed?
It's flawed in a huge way, both at a political and social level. At a political level, why do I say that view is wrong? You cannot decide what is the best for my people in Masema. For me to know what the people from your village in Mberengwa want is for me to go there, hear exactly what they need to be done in their community to be developed. So the concept of those people, that's why people later created the concept of the devolution of power. That communities must decide issues of development in their own community, because these are people who knows their own problems there. You cannot go with a prescription to the people who have been living there. So basically that's why I say it is flawed. Economically, in that those people who would be saying that they would think on behalf of others would not know the economic needs of the people who were in Kariba at that material time. What were the economic needs of the people in Kariba? Are people in Kariba benefiting from the electricity that is being generated from the dam that displaced them? I went to Kariba and I traveled along the coast of that dam. If you see the amount of poverty and the darkness in those villages who are not benefiting from the electricity that is being generated from their own area where they were displaced, and is powering me and you here today. That's why we are able to have this interview at night. But why is the local people in Kariba are not benefiting from their own dam?
But that's not true, Honorable.
It's true.
We are being powered by a solar.
But we are saying it did not been of this solar. It did not been of this solar. But we use the electricity in Kariba, all of us here. Me and you at your own house. But the people in Kariba themselves, they are not benefiting from it. And last week, just to give you one of the community problems, which I say we must never ever prescribe for the people. There is in my own village in Masema, and also areas downstream, Vunjere and others that are going up to Deore. Our water source has been Mongezi River. And along Mongezi River, there is a dam that was constructed at Masasire village called Mateza Dam. So Mateza Dam intercepted all the water that was supposed to go downstream. But now, that water which Mateza Dam is having is no longer benefiting all the other residents downstream from Bikita Minerals up to Devolution range. Until last week, they had to engage Zinwa to say our animal and our animal are dying. People do not have water to drink, but you caught all our water in the dam. So what we must know is that we cannot give prescription of development to communities. Communities know what they want. Like what I gave you a pure correct example. People around Kariba Dam do not have electricity. They are living in darkness. They are even living in small houses where even elephants would come and invade them. They don't have electricity. Electricity is benefiting us here. So what the people of Kariba wanted was not the dam, but they could have wanted something else at that material time.
But the nation needed the dam.
Yeah, the nation needed the dam, but to the benefit of the selfish nation, but not to the benefit of the local domestic people of Kariba.
Is that not just an issue of lack of leadership there?
We cannot say it's lack of leadership, it's just like the people who are surrounded by a gold mine. Go to Mashaba mine on your way to Mberengwa. Mashaba mine was mining asbestos. But if you go along the way from Oterekwa going downwards, many houses in the village are not roofed by asbestos. It came and benefited all of us. Many houses here are roofed by asbestos. So these are some of the things we have to think, that the communities where resources are found must decide on how they are going to be shareholders on the resources that are coming out of them. The same applies to the people of Marange. Go to Marange today. They are the poorest people in this country, but their area is being mined diamonds that are being exported on a daily basis. So this is now the concept that we want to develop in our country, that the masses must be able to decide on how development should be brought to their own communities and their own areas, where we will not go and impose ideas to the people. Do you know what? We now have got a new airport here. I think you are just recently from UK. You have seen that there is a new airport here. When I also came from America recently, I dropped there, and then I was talking to one of the persons who later joined the flight in South Africa, and they were saying, we don't eat this airport. Our people are starving there in the villages. So this airport, our gogos, and many people in Zimbabwe are taking aeroplanes, and we don't eat airports. So this does not help. The airport which was there was okay, because what it should do is just to take people in and outside the country. Some of these things are the views of the general masses of our people.
But that was one person.
Yeah, that was one person. I'm just telling you one of the views that I got from one individual. He was saying, our people are suffering. They don't have food there in the rural areas. People don't eat these airports. So what was the fuss about creating these waiting rooms for different elites, for them to fly in luxury? Because no one will benefit from this airport except the elites. So these are some of the views that you get from the masses. So basically, when you involve the people at every level of development on how the state must be run, you will never go wrong. Everybody will get satisfaction.
I want to thank you very much, Honorable, for your time and for the conversation. I think it was quite enriching and absolutely eye-opening. But before I let you go, yeah. I'll just ask you to look the people of Zimbabwe in the eye and just share a message from your heart, something that maybe I didn't talk to you about, something that I didn't ask you, something that you just want to share.
No, our great people of Zimbabwe, my views as you had them being expressed to my brother, Blessed Mhlangaye, is that I believe that the masses must be the owners of our democratic mass struggle in Zimbabwe. The masses must be the owners of every important aspect of the nation decision making. The people must be involved at every level of our communities, up to the highest level, on how our country must be developed, on how development must be brought to their own different areas and spheres. So this is the concept we as the National Democratic Working Group is selling to the masses of our people, that you are the owners of this country. You are the ones who should determine its future. You must be contributors to the development of our country. So with these words, I thank you for having listened to this very important interview I had today with Dara. I thank you, Dara, for coming to interview me. Thank you, my brother.
Just one last thought.
Yeah.
When you were released, you went to bury Mo Blessing Ali. And from that time on, people have been calling you names. There were some people who came and demonstrated and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What is your view?
Completely nothing. I felt nothing. These are people who can, of course, there was a lot of insults, but I was laughing at them. These people who do not understand the character that has been built on me when I was in prison. I am a hardened warrior. So when I had some of the balls of insults and grandstanding and so forth, did you see myself being shaken and even being moved by those people who have been doing those funny things at Mo Blessing Ali? I just looked at them and then proceeded with burying Mo Blessing Ali. I was concentrating more on the business of the day. So some of these things, they do it, they insult, they do whatever they want and so forth. It's up to them. I wish them the best, but myself, I cannot be moved completely. I laughed at some of those people who have been talking a lot of uncomplimentary things against me. It's up to them. Let them continue doing that. It gives them satisfaction. And myself, I don't really care. They can proceed and enjoy whatever they want to say about me, but frankly speaking, I am not moved at all. I am a hardened warrior. I'm a completely different animal. If they think that the Job Sikhala who went in prison is the same Job Sikhala of today, they are mistaken.
And what is your relationship with your former president, Nelson Chamisa?
What you have to understand is that we have got relations that have been built over a long period. That's why you see that I find it very difficult for me to speak anything ill about Nelson. I can't even find it in my heart and in my conscience for me to get satisfaction to speak ill about Tendai. No matter that we differ on political ideology and belonging with Charlton Wende, Welshman Movie and others and many others, I find it extremely hurtful to me to speak ill about them, because we come a long way together. Even if we are going to choose different ways of how we are going to run our state of affairs, I will not find pleasure or satisfaction in me in having any conflict with one of them. That's why you realize that I have never talked ill about anyone. And I think Nelson tried to visit me. He came to Chikurup Maximum Prison, and contrary to what the people of Zimbabwe have been saying, I've been just seeing it and laughing that me and Nelson did not meet when he came to Chikurup Maximum Prison. That's a complete lie. When Nelson came to Chikurup Maximum Prison, we met and we talked. But strategically, it was not, at that material time, it wasn't prudent for the world to know that he met me. On the basis that when he was talking to the officer in charge in Chikurup Maximum Prison, Ziambe phoned the officer in charge, threatened him with death, that there will be blood on the floor if he will allow Job Sikhala and Nelson to meet. And then we met by the entrance of the gate to my prison cells. When I was going back, then Nelson was coming from the officer in charge office. Then we met and then we had a 5-10 minutes chat. So So some of these things people would not know, and you allow those people who do not have the knowledge of people's relations for a long time to speak what they want, but ourselves, we know each other. I will not take pleasure to insult my former colleagues. We come a long way together. We suffer together in different ways. Even if we part ways, we must be able to part ways in an amicable way, because we haven't taken each other's wives. So that's it, my brother.
And Douglas Mwonzora also visited you?
Yeah, I couldn't want to meet him because on the basis of the following. At no particular point did he ever made an effort to condemn my arrest. I've been following the news of people who have been speaking against my arrest. Douglas Mwonzora never condemned my persecution unreservedly. Only for him to say he wants to come and see me. When you have not condemned that my arrest was purely a political persecution, you simply want to meet me so that you for your own intentions and purposes, which I could not understand. So that's why I refused to meet him. Not on the basis that I hate him. No, I don't hate him completely at all. But I did not understand the agenda of his visit. If it was defined to me, if he was somebody who could have hold a press conference condemning my persecution, I could have welcomed him. But he did not. He just came from nowhere. And the way how it came, and the way how the prison security officers, who are almost the branch of the CIO, begged on their knees for me to meet Douglas Mwonzora, led me to completely reject it. Because I knew that when you see these people who are maltreating me here, coming now to begging on their knees for me to meet Douglas Mwonzora, there must be an ultra motive. So that's why I refused to meet him. It was on those bases. If he could have been one of those people who have been consistently attacking my persecution, as having been contrary to constitutionalism, the rule of law, and democracy in our country, there was no way I could not have met him. But he simply came without even issuing a statement. And also, there was some information that was brought by one of the relatives of the guy whom I was with in prison. What was his name? At that time, that member of parliament from Chamisa North, what is his name? He told me that he has received information that there was some meeting that was held in Mount Pleasant between Jambe, Douglas Mwonzora, the CIO, people from the judiciary, to discuss over my case. And that they were intending to dispatch Mwonzora to come to court, to come to visit me at Tichikuru Maximum Prison. After his visit to Tichikuru Maximum Prison, he will come out and then pronounce that he will fight, and he will pronounce that he will fight to make sure that Job Sikhala is released. So when I was going to be released from prison, it was going to appear as Douglas Mwonzora is the one who has played a major role for my release. Initially, when this guy whom I was with in prison told me that thing, I tried to assess it at an intelligence level and see the authenticity of it. And then I told him that no, in intelligence, when you get the information, for you to prove its authenticity is for you to see when it comes to pass. So let's see. So 2 weeks down the line, surely the man comes. And I said, oh, what you have been saying, you were correct. So this is the mission. So that's why I refused to see him. It was based on those things. I want to be frank with you.
And lastly, you are one of the most arrested.
Yeah.
And also most acquitted.
Yeah.
But is it because you're just reckless?
No, it's on the basis that the regime, completely from the beginning in 2000, they've been completely mischaracterizing myself both in the political market and so forth. They've been trying to sell an individual who is violent, somebody who is disposed to anarchy, and who does not want to engage in logical politics. I always want to fight and so forth. So this has been the narrative which Zanu PF has been creating, and their propaganda machinery over my person. That I am a violent character. I want to deal with Zanu PF and overthrow it violently. And so for them to satisfy themselves by saying we want to put brakes on him, they will simply arrest and throw me outside and create just a lie. These people can just create a case like what happened to Jacob Mugaruvume. They simply just created a lie, fearing that maybe he is involved on the pre-SADC summit demonstration or arrangements. When I know for a fact that Jacob Mugaruvume was not even concerned about that, about those things, because he is my friend. But they allege that he was at the allegations against him is that he attended the meeting at James Timba's house. He is one of those people who have been throwing stones and stoning the police. Honestly speaking, things that are unbelievable and that have never happened. Because Jacob Mugaruvume himself, when he talked to me, said, I've never met James Timba all my life, but he is in prison for that. So these people simply just create cases against you when they think that you are a threat for you to throw them inside. And also there are quite many things that I was told by one of their own. This former minister, or the former deputy minister of finance, what is his name, from Harare East? Terence Mkupe. I met him when he was in prison, and he told me substantially amounts of things that Zanu PF have been plotting against me, which I'm not prepared at the present moment to share with the public, because I don't want to risk him. Because some of the things that he told me are scary and shocking.
Amazing. I want to thank you very much. Thank you once again. Allow me to address our viewers at home and say that Zimbabwe is our country. We are Zimbabweans. This is our home, and we have nowhere else to go. You look at how other nations are progressing, how governments in other spaces are providing for their people. You go to South Africa, just the moment you cross the border, you realize a massive and major difference. You go to Botswana, you'll see how that nation has been progressing over the past 10 years. You go to Rwanda, it's just phenomenal. It's just phenomenal where people, where a nation and its leader sit together and agree on developing a nation. A nation can be developed. Now here at Free Talk in proud partnership with the Frederick Newman Foundation for Freedom, we believe that Zimbabwe as a nation needs to ensure that its people are economically empowered, that they have free speech, and they contribute openly as citizens in building their own nation so that it can sit amongst the table of nations and have its presence felt. After all, we continue to boast that we are one of the most educated nations in the world. Yet, day in, day out, we struggle to provide solutions for our own. This is and this will always be the Free Talk. And I, your host, Dara B. I encourage you to leave your comments just below this video. Let us know what you think. Share your views so that we can use them to create better and more compelling programming for you. And please don't hesitate to subscribe, share, and share our content so that it can be shared amongst a larger audience. We depend on you, your love, and your patronage. This will always be the Free Talk. I, your host, Dara B, on this Heart and Soul TV and radio. Until next time, please don't hesitate to subscribe. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Kutengo hukuwa kutenga sana.